Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm here to do the weekly tarot forecast for May 5th through the 11th. Sorry, I'm running a little late this morning. Feeling a little funny this morning. I don't know. After last night's pop-up, which was a lot of fun, I did some meditation to sort of clear my space, and that was good. And then I started, sorry, there's something else. And then I went to bed, and I started waking up at like 4 o'clock in the morning this morning. I did some affirmation stuff for the new moon, and watched some TV, and then went to bed. And then I started waking up at like 4:30 in the morning, and then from there it was like back and forth, in and out of bed. It was crazy till like 6. I just ate some oatmeal, and the oatmeal hit my stomach so hard it like knocked me out. Like I fell back to sleep. It was weird, and it was like suspended animation sleep, which was strange. Like I felt like conscious and aware while I was sleeping. I don't know. Some weird shit's going on. It's kind of tripping me out. To be honest, it is tripping me out. Oh, let's see. Okay, let me put that down. Yeah, I don't know. So something just told me, like, and then I woke up with a bunch of anxiety, like from the like sort of suspended sleep. It was weird. And I was like, get in the shower, get up. So I got up, and I'm here now. I even meditated a little bit this morning, like between the hours of 6 and 8 a.m. I sat for like 20 minutes in the dark in my room with a candle on. The sun wasn't even up. And that sort of helped. But I don't know, like I feel like I'm not sure if I'm having anxiety right now, or I'm just feeling strange, like weird, like, I don't know. Good morning, everybody, though. Good morning, good morning. All right, so let's get to this week's forecast for the group. Please like, share, subscribe, follow, join the Facebook group, share this out to your pages and to your friends' pages. And let's look at what we've got coming up this week from May 5th through the 11th. Give me one moment. Okay, the shuffle feels pretty straightforward. It feels pretty good. I'm hoping the cards are good. Let's see what the 3 cards are for the week. It did feel like, there's maybe some resistance, but not a whole lot. So it just feels like it's going to be hopefully a rather normal week. We'll have to see about that. I know that this morning I'm not feeling very normal, so I'm not sure what's going on. Keep calm was what I kept hearing, but I don't know if that was for me or for you guys. So maybe you might need to keep calm this week, or maybe I just need to keep calm right now in this moment. But I didn't get a whole lot of resistance. So, and all the cards are inverted, which is weird. Let me look at this. So the first card is the Fortune card, but it's inverted. So I feel like there's going to be some problems this week. I'm just going to go with this inversion. I feel like this inversion is, I know all the cards are upright in the deck though, so I just pulled them out upside down. Let me just look at this for a minute. I have a feeling that like this week might be wonky for people, or at least for me. I'm not sure if I'm in the right space to even read right now, but let me just say this. The fortune card is, it feels a little bit overwhelming and kind of like we might not be able to make a decision about what it is we want to do or how it is we want to go about creating whatever it is we maybe tried to manifest last night. We might be in a bit of a rush to want to try and manifest it or want to see it come in and not necessarily feel as though we can get it to come in correctly because we're sort of maybe looking at multiple avenues or too many different ideas, too many different things. This speaks to kind of this whole week looks like this inversion to me feels like we're going to be too much in our heads, or maybe I'm going to be too much in my head. And but as a group, I think some of us are going to be experiencing that. And what it looks like from these three cards, you have the fortune card, then we have the universe card, and we have the two of cups card, equilibrium at the end of the week. And I feel like all of it is sort of kind of still about this idea of where do we want to be in the world? What do we want out of our lives? What is it that we need spiritually, and how do we go about getting it? But I feel like this inversion in these cards feels like there's a struggle that's happening, where we're not quite necessarily understanding how to go about getting it, or we're not quite like, it's almost like it feels like we're in our own way. Because when I look at these cards, I can easily flip them upright. And it says to me that these things are all here and available to us, right? That we have equilibrium, we have the universe, we have fortune. But for some reason, they're upside down. Like for some reason, we're like either blocking the energy or getting in our own way in some way, overthinking it maybe in some way this week, and not really allowing it to kind of come in the way that it should. Now, because these cards represent today, I believe that you can sort of reverse them and upright them if we're aware of that and we stay aware of that. So if we don't allow, because the fortune card and the universe feel a little bit busy to me, a little bit overwhelming. If you look at all the stuff that's going on in there. So with it upside down like that, it feels like maybe the beginning of the week might take hold, and the things that are that we need to do or take care of might actually sort of preoccupy our attention and bring our energies down, or bring our mental state down to where we're only fixating on what needs to be fixed or the problems, that sort of a thing. And it's going to sort of stand in the way of us sort of achieving maybe what it is we want in the way that we want it. I also think that there's going to be maybe some difficulty in figuring out exactly how we want it to come in, and that's part of the problem there. The second card is the universe. And again, this card also feels like everything is available to us, but there's all of this stuff going on in it, and it feels sort of stuck in the middle. It's also upside down. So I'm gonna use this inversion today because I'm gonna be honest, guys. This morning I'm not feeling right. And these cards are coming out this way. So I think that there's a reason for it. It could be just my energy. We'll go through the week with the rest of the forecast and see what happens and see how you guys feel. You guys are going to have to give me feedback on this, on what your experiences are going to be this week. I don't want to be too predictive. These cards don't necessarily have to stand for everyone. These cards could stand in upright. You know, some of you could be very fortuitous this week, and this inversion means nothing to you, right? It's just affecting some of us in this way. But the universe is also about sort of like having a lot of things on offer and sort of making a choice, you know, like which one do I want? How do I go about getting it? And the fortune card is the same sort of thing. It's like picking that path and staying with it, but trying not to let the other things that like come with our normal life get in our way and in the way of our thinking to deter us from that path. Does that make sense? I wonder what's going on with the planets. I'm not a super astrologer or whatever, but it makes me feel like something, even after this new moon, like is something going retrograde or something going wackadoo, because it just feels It feels like, you know how in the last couple of weeks we've been seeing that stagnation card show up over and over again? This to me feels like it's not stagnation. It's like we want to move forward. We're just not sure how, and we're like getting bogged down in the how part of it. Like, does that make sense? And then this end card is the Two of Cups, which is like equilibrium, which is trying to find that balance, that emotional balance to kind of bring ourselves into equilibrium and sort of fix these other two cards. But this card is also in and of itself upside down. It feels more calm and at peace. So by the weekend, we should be more calm and at peace. And hopefully we've uprighted this card by that point. And that's part of the forecast too, guys, is this gives us an opportunity. Nothing is ever set in stone. We have free will. We have the right of choice. So the reason why I do these forecasts is to kind of give you guys insight into what could potentially happen today with the energy as it stands. That's how I do all my readings. And in my future card, I always explain to them, nothing is set in stone. This is what it could come to be if you just continue along the way you're going. So if you're thinking a little bit too much already this week, you might find yourself sort of sticking yourself. I might have been thinking too much already this morning and getting stuck too, and then I'm running late to doing this forecast. Things like that. Do you know what I'm saying? So it feels like we could be fighting against our own heads quite a bit this week. This equilibrium card makes me feel like we could get to a place of peace, or at least more peace. It may not be perfect by the week's end, but it will be a little bit more emotionally balanced and a little bit more less overwhelming for us. It's funny though, because I didn't feel a lot of resistance or pressure in the cards. So I think that it's not going to be the outside environment that's going to be affecting us as much as it's going to be our internal mental environment, or like our emotional environment, the choices that we need to make, and also the choosing the path and staying clear on the path is going to be what's most key this week for us to kind of steer through this week. Does that make sense? I hope it does. It's odd because I don't normally, I mean, inversions do sometimes come up, but I usually, I'll acknowledge them if need be, and I feel like this needs to be acknowledged. I do know that I'm off, like I feel really kind of strange this morning. I don't think it has anything to do with the pop-up. I'm not sure what's going on, to be honest. I'm thinking that last night's reading with Michelle in the pop-up kind of really shook me a little bit. There's some trans mediumship stuff or mediumship stuff that I don't normally consider myself as, and I kind of avoid it because it kind of, what's the word? Like it kind of intimidates me. It sort of scares me. And so I try not to go there when I do my readings. I just sort of keep it in a safe space of this is how I'm feeling, and I keep it like sort of in my body. But when I get stuff from that feels like it's from somewhere else, like I have guides and I speak to my guides on my own personal stuff, and I do feel like I hear, some voices, but it's this fine line of, mediumship is a whole nother ball game for me. And I'm not sure that some of this isn't what's waking me up early in the morning and telling me to get up. Like this morning, I'm like going, why am I up at this hour? It's dark out. And the voice I heard in my head is because there's less energy on the planet, so you can actually feel what we're trying to do, so you can hear what we're trying to say. And I'm like, what? Like, excuse me, come again? So I don't know if that's the case, but I know that my mind, my normal egoic mind is going like, no, bitch, we like to sleep until 10. So I'm having a little bit of an internal struggle, and that might be what I'm seeing in these three cards. So I hope that this is not, me channeling my struggle into this week's reading. You guys are also dealing with the same thing, but some of you may relate to this. So I'm just putting it out there as this week's reading because this is what's come up. I'm just flipping one extra card just to see what it is. And it's the Chariot, and Chariot's always like fast moving energy and on its way towards something big, like some big change, some big good thing. So if you do find yourself struggling this week, come to the group and talk about it. If it's struggling around money, if it's struggling around choices, if it's struggling around making the right decision, if it's struggling around how you feel emotionally, if it's struggling around spiritually, come to the group and talk about it. And maybe we can help each other out to write these cards upright and bring these good energies in, because these are all really good energies. They're like trying to get in, is what I feel like. And they're maybe being blocked in some way. In whatever it is that we're doing. I might be trying to sleep too much or whatever, and somebody else might be, eating too much or vegging on the couch too much and avoiding dealing with the desires that we truly deeply want internally within us, and the peace that we want to find in ourselves. And that's this equilibrium card at the end of the week. It's that emotional peace of feeling like whole, inspired, and content. And I think that the new moon and the inspiration around last night's readings and all of those things, certainly I can see this example for myself, because it inspired me. It scared me and inspired me at the same time. It shook me because it was a really, like, emotionally what I was feeling in my body was really intense. And it's definitely, I don't want to put this. It's like when you open the doors to certain things, my fear is can you close them? And I think from time to time, I want to close it because I want to feel safe. Not that I'm unsafe, but I just don't feel like I'm in control of it fully. It's spirit. And that to me intimidates me a little bit. If that makes sense. Not intimidates me, because I don't think spirit is intimidating, but it's just not something that I fully understand or can control completely. Know when it's going to happen and when it's not. Like yesterday when I was meditating before the pop-up, the fact that the love card showed up for yesterday's daily card, like I was crying in my meditation because I thought that was the most beautiful thing. And I was like, thanking like whatever powers that be, that there's 78 cards in this deck. For that to be the one card that showed up on that day, it was like perfect timing, needed to be seen. And for me, it's undeniable acknowledgement of spirit, right? And I live that way. I believe that spirit exists. I know that spirit exists. I sat with my grandmother and held her hand as she passed. And I felt her spirit lift up off of her body. Like I actually felt her leave the room. There was something there. There was a presence there that came up off of her body. So I know that spirit exists. That's not the question. The question is how brave am I enough to let spirit in to work through me? Does that make sense? And I had a workable thing, and I think spirit wants a little bit more now. And I'm like going like, wait. So I think that's what's maybe going on with me and causing my anxiety. And I will get around that. I will have to do my work. I'm going to continue to meditate. I'm going to continue to try and clear my thoughts. I'm going to continue to try and think positively, try not to get overwhelmed. And those would all be good suggestions for you guys for this week. If you find yourself getting overwhelmed or having a hard time making a choice, come to the group and talk about it. Put posts up about it, ask for advice from each other. You guys come to me for the forecast, but we all have our own spiritual information, and all of it's very valid. So it's, you guys, I love that you guys love my readings and stuff, but internally we all kind of have our own intuition too. And so we don't know that we can't help each other within the group just by sharing where we're at and getting real. Does that make sense? So I hope that helps today. I hope you guys have a good Sunday. I am going to go and try and, relax. I don't know. I just feel off. Like, strangely, I think it's anxiety. I think something was going on this morning that I don't quite understand. Like, something was telling me, get the fuck out of bed. And I did, and I meditated, and it helped a little bit. But then I went into this weird suspended animation sleep, so I'm not sure. So I'm going to let you guys go. Like, share, follow, and subscribe. I hope you find your high is good today, and I will see you all tomorrow with another card. And hopefully, maybe, too, this is, like I said, it's not set in stone. It's the underlay of kind of what's going on for us. So if we have an awareness of these things coming, we can make choices and changes to avoid them happening. So we can use this as a tool to sort of help make our week easier. That's the whole point. All right. Have a good day, you guys. Thank you. And I'll talk to you soon.